Hey, what's going on, guys? We are here for my Week 9 matchup versus the Bayern Munchlax, coached by Mega-Lugia. His team's actually he's a very formidable opponent, honestly. His team's very good, and he is a decent player as well. So, definitely need to watch out for this week. We are in a tough conference, tough conference with Alpha and Eric. We are all tied at 6-2. So, yeah, and pretty much how the division goes, or how the rankings work, is so 4 teams are going to go from each conference, and that is going to mean 8 teams are in the playoffs. So we could potentially all 3 be in the playoffs, which is what it's looking like it's going to be. But then there's always the chance of somebody in the other division in our conference to potentially get up there too. So we have to pretty much win almost every single game, at least one of us does, because we'll all face each other again due to the double matches that we have at the end of the season. So this is my last out of division game, and hopefully we can get a win. So this is pretty much crunch time. Honestly, this is go time. We need to start picking up wins. A high differential is nice, but it's more important to get the win than anything. So I'll hop right into my team builder for you guys and let you know what he has on his team. So the Bayern Munchlax have Mega-Gardevoir, Heatran, Skarmory, Entei, Gyarados, Kyurem, Mienshao, Toxicroak, Seismitoad, Shiftry, and Claydol. So instantly, as soon as I looked at his team, I saw Mega-Gardevoir, and I saw that my only fairy resist is Steelix. So and honestly, Steelix gets bodied by half of his team, so I was really scared to bring Steelix, so I actually ended up not bringing it. The fact that I didn't bring Steelix is kind of okay with me, because of the fact that I have other things to deal with high special attack users. So this is pretty much the 3rd week we are bringing Meloetta, and we are bringing Assault Vest Meloetta. And I know it's getting really predictable at this point, but there's nothing I could do about Mega-Gardevoir except this thing. Honestly, I don't think there's another thing on my roster. Maybe Mirror Coat Blastoise. I didn't want to get too crazy, or like super Spadef Assault Vest DNC, but I didn't want to go that route either. Just because of the DNC's great utility it also provides. Another thing, looking at the Skarmory, I don't have too much for it. Thunderous is pretty much the main answer to it. Skarmory hard walls my Mamoswine, which is really unfortunate. Also beats my DNC, which is pretty unfortunate as well. So I didn't really want to not bring Thunderous. I thought Thunderous would be a very good Pokemon to bring this week because of the fact that he also has Gyarados. Really nothing on his team necessarily wants to take the coverage that I provide, so I will show you that in a second. A little bit worried about the Seismitoad because of the fact that I'm lacking a lot of Grass-type moves on my team. So I have 1 Grass-type coverage for his Seismitoad, and hopefully he doesn't bring it. And same for the Toxicroak. Toxicroak hard walls my Blastoise due to the ability that it does get the Dry Skin ability, which would totally wall it. The only play I would have to it is either Rapid Spin on it or Roar it out, or Switch, of course, but still. Toxicroak setting up a couple of SDs, and I could easily lose, so just because it has Sucker Punch to take out my Latios as well. So I gotta be careful if he brings that. Kyurem is always a hassle, honestly, just because of the fact that it has such high special attack stat. And I guess it has a high attack stat too, but I'm really worried about the special set with Draco, Ice Beam, just because that those 2 offensive typings are very good versus my team. So I really need to watch out for them. It pretty much hits everything neutrally on my team, and there's nothing really could do about it except bring at least a little bit of bulkier mons. Gyarados, I'm worried about the Moxie set. I'm worried about the Dragon Dance Lumberry set. So that's why I'm bringing what is it called? Blastoise. Entei is also a problem, especially Choice Banded Entei, which I'm expecting them to bring because that's the most popular Entei set, and that's pretty much the best Entei set in my opinion. That's why we're bringing a max physically defensive Blastoise, just to be able to eat those hits very well. Other than that, I'm not too worried about his team. I know Heatran can potentially beat my Latios, but he should know that Latios does get access to Earthquake, also Surf. So he should be a little bit hesitant about it because of the fact that I've brought both of them in the past, and hopefully he knows better. So yeah, main concern is the Mega-Gardevoir. I don't want that thing to just come in and kill something every single time it comes in, so I'm going to put as much pressure on it as I can. immediately. So that is the game plan, and I will get into why I built my team. So looking at Meloetta, Meloetta is the only thing that can beat this Gardevoir 1v1 on my team without coming in on a free switch. So this thing is able to eat up, or it's actually able to sponge up a lot of hits. I believe Hyper Voice isn't a 2-hit KO if I'm at 100%. I honestly think Hyper Voice does about 30% to me, or 30 to 35% to me, so that's pretty good, honestly. I'm running a Calm Nature over a Modest Nature, just be able to sponge up a little bit better on the potential Focus Blast or the potential Hyper Voice. I'm really worried about the Hyper Voice more than anything. I could potentially be worried about a, a substitute. I know I do have Hyper Voice, that's the reason why I'm bringing Hyper Voice as well. But just because of the fact that Shadow Ball is my main way of dealing with it, and Hyper Voice is really only going to do about, I don't know, 30-35% as well back to him. So it'll be a little bit of a struggle at first just to find out what set he is. So that's my concern at least. The Shadow Ball is really nice coverage versus his team. I don't think he has a Ghost Resist on his team except Shiftry, which really isn't a Ghost Resist. That thing is really, really frail. Plus, I don't think he'd bring Shiftry. I have a Mega-Pinsir. Same with his two fighting types. I don't know if he's going to bring them because of the fact that I have Pinsir and it scares both of them out. Also, T-Bolt is really nice coverage versus the Skarmory and Gyarados. And yeah, that's about it for the Meloetta coverage. But T-Bolt's very, very nice because Oko's Gyarados. Pretty much Oko is Skarmory if it's not Spadef Skarm. 2-hit KOs every Skarm set, which is very, very nice. Chance to paralyze as well, I guess. With the Serene Grace ability, I have a 40% chance to drop on the Shadow Ball, and I have a 20% chance to para on the T-Bolt. So that's kind of cool. U-turn as well, just to gain some initiative, and like for example, if I know he has the Claydol out, I don't think he would potentially stay in, so I could U-turn on out. That's just one scenario. Anyway, that is the Meloetta set. I don't really need to bring any speed on this Meloetta set because it's definitely just going to be there to be a sponge, literally. Really nice because I do resist the Psychic type attacks, so Mega-Gardevoir's Psychic coverage isn't going to be doing anything, and its other coverage options like Shadow Ball can't hit me because I'm also a normal type. So the only way it could potentially hit me very, very hard is the Hyper Voice from a Modest set, which I think he's actually going to bring. So this Meloetta set's super bulky. That's why I brought it the past 3 weeks. So anyway, next we have the Thundurus, and this is a pretty standard Thundurus set. It's just 3 attack, Nasty Plot. No T-Wave. I don't think I really needed it. I don't really think I need to slow down anything on his team. Just because of the fact that nothing on his team is like really, really fast. Maybe Scarf Mienshao is the biggest concern. Scarf Kyurem. Scarf Gyarados with Moxie, but I honestly think if he's going to bring the Gyarados, he's going to bring some sort of Lum DD set or sub DD, so that's just my concern, so I don't really think I need T-Bolt. I thought Nasty Plot would be better because I could come in on something like Skarmory, freely set up a Nasty Plot because there's nothing that thing can do to me. I could also come in on the Toad, freely set up a Nasty Plot. The Croak, to an extent, because of the fact that it's really, really weak, so a T-Bolt will pretty much kill that thing. I could set up a Nasty Plot on Claydol, I could set up a Nasty Plot on Heatran, so yeah, it's just very, very dependent on when I set up the Nasty Plot. But I have a feeling with my coverage, I hit almost everything. I think I hit everything neutrally at least. Let's see. I smack Gardevoir with the Flash Cannon or T-Bolt. Heatran doesn't take T-Bolt very well. Skarmory dies. Entei doesn't handle Thunderbolt very well. Gyarados dies to T-Bolt. Kyurem gets smacked by Flash Cannon. Mienshao smacked by T-Bolt. Croak smacked by T-Bolt. Seismitoad destroyed by Grass Knot. Shiftry, it's not going to do too much to Shiftry, but Shiftry is very frail, so it'll pretty much die after a Nasty Plot with a Flash Cannon. And then Claydol gets smashed by a Grass Knot. So that's pretty cool for me, honestly. I have perfect coverage versus his team. So if I can set up a Nasty Plot and I outspeed everything on his team, I believe, at least naturally, like I outspeed the 105 base speed Mienshao, and then as long as he's not Scarf, I outspeed everything else. I do need to be wary of the extreme speed on Banded Entei, at least I would think it'd be banded. Because extreme speed is a thing. So I'm bringing leftovers too, just to get a little bit more recovery. And I have I have quite a bit of HP investment on a Thundurus if I've ever seen it. You usually don't see that much. That's just to be able to eat hits that he thinks he's going to be able to kill me with. Also, being able to live a Hyper Voice from Mega-Guard. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty much it for this Thundurus. It's just a potential sweeper and wall breaker, honestly, after I set up a nasty plot. So I already said a little bit about this Blastoise set. This is pretty much just Entei Wall and I guess Heatran Wall to an extent, but they have the ability to run Power Herb Solar Beam. Plus, they could trap me with Magma Storm. They could also just burn me with Lava Plume. So I guess like Spidef Tran takes only like 35 from Scald, if I believe. So it's kind of a concern. I could roar it out potentially, which wouldn't be that bad, but I don't really want to waste a roar or anything. Also, this thing beats Skarmory one-on-one, which is pretty nice. Like if it starts trying to hazard stack me, I can spin on him and then try to Scald Burn him. And then it's pretty much just decent Ice Beam resist. It kind of beats Toad one-on-one due to the fact that I can Toxicate, but if he's running Toxic, then he beats me one-on-one. And then I beat Claydol, obviously, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I am running a bit of speed just to try to speed creep something that is trying to speed creep me. Like say he wants to run speed on his Seismitoad so he can get the Toxic off before he goes down or something like that. I just ran a little bit into the speed just in case. Same with the, I guess it's just for the Seismitoad, because I know Toad's not too far away. I think it's like 73 or 75 speed and I'm 78, so that's the reason why. And then the rest is really standard. So next we have our Life Orb Latios, and this is pretty much another standard set. It's just 3 attack recover instead of 3 attack nasty plot. Just another thing to be very fast and outspeed his entire team. Yeah, I think 173 outspeeds. Yeah, 173 outspeeds his entire team naturally, which is pretty cool. This thing is fast, this thing hits hard, and this thing has great coverage versus his team as well. Yeah, this thing's pretty nice. Obviously, the Levitate ability also helps due to the fact that some of his mons could be running Earth Power or Earthquake, and that'll help out in the long run as well. So this thing is pretty much here just to punch holes in his team. Shadow Ball does about 60 to 65, maybe even 70% to Mega Guard, which is pretty nice. Also, I think this thing is a nice Heatran lure, so I could potentially bring in Heatran if I wanted to and try to switch out into something else and take care of it, or just drop a Draco on it. It's still going to be doing a decent amount. Same with Shadow Ball or even Psychic to an extent. It just depends on his set, honestly. And then I could always recover up on anything almost. It's also a nice Entei check. Yeah, really nice Entei check. Yeah, Skarmory doesn't really appreciate this thing. It dies at 2 Shadow Balls, I'm pretty sure, if it's not Spadef. And then pretty much nice check to Mienshao, nice check to Toxicroak without the Sucker Punch. And Seismitoad should be freeing me as well. I do have the ability to pack the Energy Ball, but I'm not. Same with the Claydol. So yeah. Anyway, that is the Latios set. It's very standard as well. Then we have Sparkle, our DNC. This is pretty much it. This is kind of an interesting set, I guess. I'm running more of a Spadef DNC with lefties. Clear Body's nice just because of the fact that he can't lower any of my stats, even though he only has 1 Intimidate user, and that's Gyarados. And obviously I will not be staying in if he brings it. Anyway, this thing is, I guess its ability is to eat 2 Hyper Voices from Mega Guard. At least have the ability to set up a potential screen. I have Light Screen on here. Rocks are very important versus this team. He's got Entei, he's got Gyarados, he's got, what else? Kyurem. So yeah, I want to set up my rocks as soon as possible, at least whenever I get the chance. And then Diamond Storm Moonblast is just really nice coverage versus his team. Diamond Storm 2-hit KO is Mega Guard. I know it 2-hit KO is Entei. Mienshao dies to Moonblast. Kyurem dies to both. Maybe not in 1 hit, but 2 hits. Shifty dies to Moonblast, and then obviously Toad and Toxicroak don't really want to take damage from Moonblast either. But anyway, this thing's just pretty much utility, a potential light screen and get up rocks, and then something to be a little bit bulky. Also a decent Entei check unless he's packing Iron Head, which I think he would. But yeah, there's no point into running a, what is it, a Kiwi Berry or some berry that resists Steel type. And our last Pokemon here is the most interesting set maybe. We were running a bit of a bulkier Mammoth Spine this time. Because of the fact that this thing has 110 HP, with the ability Thick Fat. I'm actually able to eat fire hits much better than you would think, honestly. And I guess 80 defense isn't that bad either. But we're only 60s, but that's not very good. We're running Thick Fat with Assault Vest, and this thing is pretty much here to not really lure Gardevoir, but if I find myself in the situation to have a Gardevoir one-on-one with me, I have the ability to eat a Focus Blast. I believe I didn't calc the Focus Blast, but I live a Hyper Voice, I know that for a fact. I probably live a Focus Blast, maybe not. It just depends if he even hits the Focus Blast, but I know I kill it with an Earthquake plus Ice Shard no matter what range he is at, which is really, really nice. Earthquake is also great coverage versus the Heatran, the Entei, pretty much the Toxicroak. Yeah, it hits everything really, really nice. And then my Ice coverage covers the rest usually, except the Skarmory. Knockoff is pretty much just there if I need it. I only really brought it as the 4th move because I didn't really think I needed anything else. So yeah, Skarmory could be a problem for this thing, but that's about it. So we do live a Sacred Fire from Entei, and I do Oko before I get burned from Sacred Fire, so that's saying something. Yeah, but that's about it. So I will hop into the battle and show you guys what happened. So he brings the Mega-Gardevoir, of course, the Skarmory, the Mienshao, the Kyurem, the Entei, and the Heatran. So I see he brought both of his fire types, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. I am a little bit surprised he didn't bring Gyarados, because Gyarados is so scary to me. Gyarados is just one of those mons that you're like, whew, even though it is, like, it's so predictable, like, you know what it's going to do, but half the time you can't stop it anyway. Just because the fact that it's natural bulk and its only quad weakness is electric, and it's not really worth running HP electric most of the time. Anyway, yeah, a little bit surprised about the Toxicroak too. If I thought he would have brought a fighting type, I thought he was going to bring the Toxicroak, just because of the fact that he has 2 fire types, and those don't want to take water type moves. So, and plus it's very, very nice versus a Blastoise, unless he predicted me to bring like HP Psychic, who knows. Anyway, no Toad, a little bit surprising as well. I thought Toad would be a decent versus my team, but that's about it. Everything else is pretty standard. So, yeah, looking at the squad that he did bring, I'm expecting him to get up his rocks right away because of the fact that he doesn't really appreciate Thundurus at all, and then rocks are just nice in general. So once again, I'm predicting his only, well, not his only potential rocker, but I don't think he would run rocks on the Skarmory because he can run rocks on the Heatran. And usually Skarmory appreciates to have those extra move slots, maybe for something like Spikes or Defog or Roost. So even Counter too. So you never know. I think he's going to lead the Heatran, or potentially even the what do you call it? The Mienshao. And if that's the case, then I can just go ahead and even the Mega Guard is also a lead. So my Mamoswine beats 2 out of the 3, and I thought it would be the best lead. It also technically beats the Kyurem, because if he wants the Ice Beam, I can eat that up due to my Thick Fat and my Assault Vest. So I go ahead and lead on my Mamoswine, and he leads his Heatran. So we get the perfect lead, and I just double into my Blitzkrieg, thinking Skarmory is going to come out, and it does. So this allows me to get up a nasty plot, as he actually goes for a ballsy play here and Whirlwinds me out. If I just straight up T-Volted, he'd be down to 1%. So that's fine though. I get a pretty bad Whirlwind out, so I'm going to switch into my Blastoise here. And this is where it gets a bit interesting. Like I said, Scald does nothing to Spidef-Tran, as you can see that damage. He does Toxic me, not that big of a deal. I'm wearing his Heatran down, which I really want to do, because the only thing that can Oko it on my team is the Mamoswine, and half of my other members don't really appreciate this thing. So wearing this down is a totally fine with me. I am totally willing to give up my Blastoise for this Heatran, because I also have another Entei check in the DNC. So that's not really a concern to me. I'm more concerned about the Heatran, put it that way, even though it is only Spidef. So he just keeps protecting and Toxic Stalling me, which is fine. Now he puts me in Torrent range of the Magma Storm, and I actually had a chance to kill, but I do not kill here. But that's fine. I'm not really too worried about that, as he gets up his rocks, which we can't do anything about now that we died at Toxic. So he's only at 14%, which isn't bad at all. I know his entire set, so he doesn't have Flash Cannon, and I'm just going to set up my rocks as he brings out the Kyurem. and which is a pretty interesting switch. So it's kind of just signaled to me that he does in fact have Flash Cannon on this thing. So I switch out into my Meloetta because I know it's my one of my more bulky mons, and as you can see, I am AV with a decent nature, and it only doing 13%. So I just go ahead and fire off Hyper Voice, giving Meloetta another kill, and the Heatran goes down. So that's pretty nice. As he goes out into this thing, and I don't think he should have done that. I think he should have went out into one of those physical attackers, and he throws off a Toxic. So I know he wants to get rid of me, but it's just not. That probably wouldn't have been my play of choice. Get the Spadef drop on the Shadow Ball, doesn't matter because I would have killed the next one anyway. Go for the Hyper Voice just in case he wants to make another ballsy double. As he actually does go into this thing, which is really nice for me because that's his other Steel type, and I have T-Bolt on the set. So I'm able to get rid of this both Steel types first, which is fantastic for the rest of my team. Now he goes out into the Mienshao, which is okay. I have no real use for this thing as it is toxic, and I don't want anything else to take unnecessary damage. So I go into this thing. If he's Scarf, he's going to have to switch or let something die. So he just high jump kicks again, which is probably the play to make, honestly. As I Psychic him away, which is really nice. So next he brings out the Kyurem. That's fine by me. There's also no reason for this. I wanted him to lock himself into something and then go from there. So I resist the Flash Cannon, go out into my Thundurus. And I believe I clicked T-Bolt here. I think I clicked T-Bolt. Yeah, I clicked T-Bolt as he stays in, trying to wear me down for maybe the Extreme Speed Sweep, but that's totally fine. I'm going to go for the T-Bolt again. It doesn't really lose anything as he sacks the Gardevoir here. And his other two Pokemon are weak to rocks, which is nice. So I'm still at a good amount of HP. Goes back into this thing, and he's obviously going to lock himself into the what do you call it? Ice Beam. And I eat two of those, so I go into this thing, which is pretty nice. And I just fire off a nice Diamond Storm to finish him off. So luckily we didn't miss that. Yeah, luckily we didn't miss that. And then this is where it gets kind of close, I guess. He's just gonna go ahead and click Sacred Fire, knock me out. And I get to, by that damage, I know that he is banded and locked into that. So I got into this thing trying to get some chip damage, and I actually get a paralyzation, which he thought that was the reason I won the game. But I do live a Sacred Fire anyway on my Mamoswine, and I would have still killed through the burn. So the only chance that he would have had to win that game if he would have hit the Sacred Fire and crit. So yeah, as you can see. At first, I thought the same thing. I didn't think I would have lived, so I said sorry for the hacks. But I double-checked, and I will show you guys the calc right here. I don't know if you can see that on your screen. I think it goes all the way. But anyway, I do live after rocks. I will even show you after rocks. Sacred Fire still is a 2-hit KO. So I was at 88%. The only way that he could have killed me was a crit. If he would have gotten max roll and the burn, I still would have killed through the burn. And I do not have Life Orb, so I would still be up as well. So that is the Week 9 in the NPL. Very, very good game to Mega-Lugia. And yeah, he really had me worried for a second. I didn't think I would have lived the Sacred Fire, but I just went into the Thundurus anyway, trying to get any kind of residual damage off on him. I was hoping maybe I would get a crit, and Ice Shard maybe picked him off, but we actually lived, which is pretty nice. So that's very, very cool for me. This means that we are 7-2, but unfortunately everybody else in my division is also 7-2. They both won their games, so now we're into the divisional games, and I play Alpha next. A rematch of my Week 3 loss to him. I lost 1-0, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was 1-0 to a Scarf Moxie, or maybe it was Scarf Intimidate. I'm not too sure. But the Crocodile is the reason why we lost. I did make a poor play, which is the reason why we lost as well. But hopefully I will not do that again. Anyway, this is a great battle with Mega-Lugia, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Hopefully we can pull off another one. See you later, guys.